The flight sim market is oversaturated with flight products, but there's one thing that it is not oversaturated with, and that is force feedback. Now, there are all kinds of controls you can buy. Some are really good, some not so much. But regardless of whether they're expensive or cheap, there's always one thing missing. Let me introduce you to Mosa's AB9 flight base. Oh my god, that's my shadow. Okay, this is not as cinematic as I thought it was gonna be. Anyways, first off, this thing weighs as much as a small elephant. And why? Because there are motors inside this box. And that's what happens if I don't have a stand under it. So I got this box right here. I can just squeeze that underneath. But, you know, you gotta really, it's not good. I tell you, this thing is heavy. But you know, if something feels heavier, then it's obviously better quality, right? Or, no, it is actually good quality, but I'll get into those details in a second. Now, the AB9 base, let's talk about price. This bad boy costs $549 doubloons. Yeah, it does feel like you paid off the US debt after you purchased this product, but as Benjamin Franklin once said, don't cheap out. Now, because I spent my hard-earned cash on this product, my review is going to be unbiased. But if Mosa does want to sponsor me in the future, my address is
308 Negra Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87104.
Now, keep in mind, if you decide to order this from Mosa, this is no Amazon. It will take about 2.5 months to ship.
This morning, Amazon facing a potential strike.
Oh. Well, maybe Mosa will be faster. Anyways, let's start out with the build quality. The build quality, it feels absolutely fantastic. Made of something that might be aluminum, I think. Here, I can look up the specs. To be honest, it feels like if you chuck it off a cliff, it will still remain intact. It feels the same quality as something like DeWalt, for all you DeWalt fans out there. Which is rare, considering most flight sim hardware is made out of plastic. Not bad quality plastic, but just plastic. Now, the most important part of any flight control is going to be the roll and pitch axis. This needs to feel smooth. No stickiness, no dead zone. Thankfully, this base, for the price it costs, you can bet your bottom dollar down tomorrow that the slightest input movements feel like absolute butter. I'm not even joking about that. This is definitely the best side stick I've had out of 3 side sticks I've had. Actually, I've had a yoke. The other side stick was a Thrustmaster HOTUS 1. Now, setting it up is relatively easy, besides plugging in this USB port, but this was probably user error. Okay, so there's a little button here on the back. If you just press that, it should calibrate itself. Now it's ready to fly. On cheaper bases with the ball and cup bearings, you'll often notice a slight dead zone in the middle, which will result in jerky movements. Not the Mosa AB9 base. It's literally butter smooth, allowing you to perform the greasiest of landings, or the butteriest of landings, whatever word you want to use for that. Just look how little pressure I'm applying, and it still reacts beautifully. There was one disappointment, and this had to do with the lack of left-handed side sticks. The way my setup is orientated, I just need a left-handed side stick to be able to you know, be comfortable, because I cannot use the mouse with my left hand. I can't get used to it. It's impossible. My brain does not function anymore. It does not want to learn anything. But with that said, Mosa gives you an option to buy an Airbus stick. And even though it's a right-handed stick, it still feels extremely comfortable on the left hand. It's fine. It works. I barely even noticed that it's a right-handed stick. Now, let's talk about what everybody came to this video for, is the force feedback, something that many people do not get in flight simming. This feature is a game changer. It's hard to convey in videos because it's something you feel rather than see. So right here, I'm demonstrating the weight of the elevator. In an aircraft that does not have a hydraulic system, obviously the elevator is going to always remain down because of how heavy that piece of metal in the back is, and because your flight stick is connected through a bunch of linkages and pulleys. The flight stick is not going to remain in a neutral position until you add some wind via the propeller. And then air will flow over your elevator, causing your stick to go into the neutral position. You can't replicate this with any other flight control that does not have force feedback in. it. Because they all want to spring back to the neutral position, because that's the only way you can do it by design. I don't know if that really makes any sense, but let's get right to the next thing. Stalls. For this experiment, I found it was extremely hard to stall a Cessna 172. But when I was able to sort of stall it, the side stick completely started shaking hardcore. There we go. So if the avionic's telling you that the stall is about to happen over and over again, it doesn't give you enough information, you can feel it in your side stick. Now let's hit the ground with the power of landing gear abomination. Yeah, so for every time you touch down a little bit too hard, the stick shakes again, just kind of like a stall, but it still feels really nice. Now the only thing that scares a flight simulator more than grass are helicopters. If you fly helicopters, you kind of fly by the seat of your pants. It's kind of like riding a bike. The reason why helicopters are so hard to fly in flight simulation is because you can't feel that inertia, you can't feel that movement. But there is one thing that the AB9 base can do to relieve some of that pain, and that is you can select a preset that will stop the flight stick from springing back to neutral. This makes it a hell of a lot easier to fly, and also relieves the constant pressure you would have to apply on a non-force feedback stick. Now, in conclusion, I give the Mosa AB9 base a 9 out of 10 because it is one of the best flight sticks on the market for the price. I know $500 is a lot of $600. I know $600 is a lot of money, but there are some force feedback products that cost thousands of dollars. So this is a great product. Thank you for watching. Go subscribe to Kip on the Ground. Peace out.